Hi guys, I will be showing you how I made this cardigan. The original is from ShopFluffy and I really liked it, so I wanted to make it. I used 2 of these 100 gram yarns for each colour. This is a StyleCraft Special Aran in lemon. This one's in cloud blue, Fondant, Wisteria, and Aspen. And I've been using a 4mm hook. The first thing we're going to start with is the flowers. So first you're going to do a magic circle. And then you are going to do a chain 2. And then you're going to be inserting into the circle 8 double crochets. Make sure to use the tail when you're doing your double crochets as well. Once you're done, you should have 9 double crochets, including the chain 2. Then you're just going to pull on the tail and slip stitch into the second chain. And here you have the start of your flower. Then you're going to change colors and chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you're going to skip the first and second chain and do a half double crochet in the 3rd, 4th and 5th of the chains. That's the last one. And then you're just going to slip stitch into the last stitch and slip stitch into the next blue stitch. And that's how you're going to do your petals. So you're going to chain 6, then skip the first and second stitch and do a half double crochet in the 3rd, 4th and 5th stitches and slip stitch into the 6th. Once you've done that, you can then slip stitch into the next blue stitch and just keep on going and do all the petals like that until you have 9 petals. So chain 6, skip the first 2 and then half double crochet into the 3rd, 4th and 5th stitch, slip stitch into the 6th stitch, and so on. Once you're done with all your petals, you're just going to slip stitch into the first blue stitch, and then you're actually going to slip stitch into the first and second stitch of your first petal, and then you're going to do a chain 3, and then you're going to slip stitch into the second stitch of your second petal, and then just push the petal back in and then just do chain 3, slip stitch into the second stitch of your petal and keep on going all the way around. So chain 3 and then slip stitch into the second stitch of the petal and so on. Once you get to the first petal, you're just going to slip stitch into the other slip stitch and you're done. Then you're going to change colors again, then chain 3, and then in each chain 3 space that we've made, you're going to make 3 double crochets in each of the spaces. So that's the 3rd one. And then you just move on to the second space, like this, and then just keep going all the way around until you've got 3 double crochets in each of the spaces, and then you just slip stitch into the first double crochet you made. And then this is where it gets a little bit complicated. So you chain 2, and then you do a double crochet, a double crochet in the next stitch, and then in the next 3 stitches, 1 half double crochet. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to do a double crochet in the next stitch, and then you're going to do 2 double crochets in the same space. Then you're going to chain 2 and do 2 double crochets in still the same space. So there's 4 double crochets in there. And then you do the other side. So double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, then 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 double crochets in the same stitch. This is how you make the square aspect. So then you just keep on going with the same pattern until you've got your whole square. Once you're there, you can see what we will do is just do a chain 1 and then just single crochet all the way around the square that you've just made, just to clean up the edges a little bit. Once you get to the corner, you're going to do 2 single crochets in the corner bit, as you can see, 1, 2, and then continue on with 1 single crochet around each stitch. Then you're just going to slip stitch into the first single crochet you made, chain 1, and then you can just cut all the different yarns that you've used. Now that you know how to make a flower square, you're going to have to do 39 more, 40 total in all the different colour coordinations, so that you have enough for your whole cardigan. This is how many you'll need, so 12 for the front and back pieces, and this is how many you'll need, 16 for the sleeve. Now, this is how I personally like to assemble my pieces. It's not necessarily what everyone likes to do, but this is what I do, so I thought I would show you. So first, I just slip stitch into one of the corners of the square. Then I use any colour that I have. This time I used pink. And then I just slip stitch into it. And then I take the front loop of the first square and the back loop of the second square, and I just slip stitch into it. So front loop, and then I'll use the back loop of the second square, and then just slip stitch and move on. So first square is going to be front loop, second square is going to be the back loop, and then I'll just slip stitch and do that all the way for each of the sides, and then for the whole side of the sleeve I'll just continue like that. So front loop of the first one, of the first square, and then back loop of the second square, and then just slip stitch like that. It makes it quite flat, which is why I quite like this technique. And this is also what I did for the front and back pieces of the main piece. So the main piece is 3 by 4 for the front and for the back. And once you're done with your sleeve and your main piece, we can do the zigzag. So for the zigzag, you just start off where you chain 86. Once you're done with that, you can start the zigzag stitch. So you just single crochet in the first and in the second stitch, and then you just skip the third stitch, and then in the next 12 stitches you're just going to do 1 single crochet in each of them. So 12 single crochets in total. Once you're done with that, you will do in the 13th stitch. In the next stitch, you're going to be doing 3 single crochets, and this will make the little peak. So you do 1, 2, 3, and then you will do 12 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in the next 12 stitches. And then once you get to the last stitch, you will just skip the next 2 stitches and do a single crochet in the third stitch to start your 12 stitches, and that is how you do a dip. So once you just continue doing that up till the end, and then once you get to the last 3 stitches, you're just going to skip the first one and do a single crochet and then last 2. This will be easier for us afterwards, so that it's nice and straight on the sides. So you chain 1 and then you do the exact same thing on the opposite way. So you do 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches, skip the 3rd stitch, 12 single crochets in the next 12 stitches, and then 3 single crochets in 1 stitch in the 13th stitch, and then you will go back down with 12 stitches. Then you're going to skip 2 stitches and then start again with the 12 stitches going up. I think by now you're going to be able to start seeing the little zigzag pattern emerge. So then once you've done 2 rows, you can change a color, and so you're just going to change a color, slip stitch a color in every 2 rows. You just chain 1 and then keep on going. So always start with 2 single crochets, then skip the 3rd, and then do 12 single crochets. For the peak, you do 3 single crochets in the same stitch, and then for a dip, you always skip 2 stitches and start again for the 12 single crochets in the 3rd stitch. And there you go, you just keep on going until you are happy with the length. For me, it was 33 centimeters for the main front and back piece and 44 centimeters for the sleeves. This is what it looks like after I've done all the colors that I have, which is 5 colors. You can always do different colors, and this is what it looks like when I've done the whole sleeve, which was 44 centimeters for me. And then I will just assemble the sleeve just like I did for the flower squares. And this is also what my front and back piece looks like. I just filled in the little dips with the colors that I had. Now I've just attached the 2 front pieces together. So I've done these sides as well. I've left some space for the sleeves, and I've also done the back. Then I'm just going to attach the 2 sleeves on the opposite side. So I put the zigzag sleeve next to the flower and flower sleeve next to the zigzag. Now that I've done that, I'm going to get started on the border and the cuffs. To start the border, I am going to attach any color. I used pink to the corner of the bottom of my cardigan. Then I'm going to chain 6. And then I will start my first row with just single crochet all the way down for 5 stitches in total. Once I get to the end, I'm going to attach my yarn by slip stitching into the stitch next to the stitch that I used to slip stitch in the first place. Then I'm going to go back with a ribbed effect, which means that I'm going to single crochet just in the back loop of my 5 stitches. Once I've done that, I am going to chain 1, turn my work around, and then do another row of back loop single crochets. Once I get to the end of the row, I'm going to again attach my yarn by slip stitching it onto the stitch next to the stitch that I've slip stitched for the previous row. This way you can see it just gives a little ribbed effect, and I'm just going to do that all the way around the bottom. and also start doing it around the collar region. Then I get started on my cuffs, which is the exact same thing. And then for the last row, I just slip stitch it with the first row of my cuff to close it off. What I do to close the 2 rows off is that I take the front loop of the last row and the back loop of the first row, and I just slip stitch them together. Once you're done, it will just close off the cuff, and so then all you have to do next is cut the thread, lose it inside of the cardigan. Optionally, you can also burn the thread so that it doesn't fray, and then do your other cuff, then just cut and lose all your threads, and there you are. This is the final product. I hope you like this tutorial, and please tag me on all your creations. Thank you for watching. Bye!